Okay, let's talk about it. Georgia's 28-6 victory over Austin P. I've seen Georgia play better. I think considering everything coming into this game and watching college football, I mean, I don't think there was really much doubt about it. Who the winner of the game would be. It would be Georgia. But oh man, that wasn't great football on the offensive side of the ball. This Georgia defense is pretty good. I must say, this Georgia defense is pretty good. They It's pretty solid. I'm taking a look at the statistics real quick. Man, I tell you, the rain, I'm not trying to get rain on. All right, so real quick. So Gunner went 26 of 34, but the problem with that was it was 26 of 34. There was no explosives. I asked him about that. Our microphone did not. We had a struggle today at times, so that was frustrating. The microphone not picking that up. But he said, of course, they want to be explosive. Um, but they weren't. They were not today. And the other thing that was kind of curious to hear or see from Kirby after the game was he said, we want Gunner to play the way he does in practice. I'll say this. He's going to, at some point, start playing the way he does in practice because it's not what you regress to. That's who you are. You play you play the way you are in practice. That's what this is. So it was not a good game. There was nothing like you're like, oh man, there's so much to look. No, it wasn't good. Now there are two things that were good. They ran the ball very effectively. They definitely did that. And then secondly, the defense is very good, but the non-explosion on the offensive side of the ball, that's a problem. That's a problem for sure. We've got a great offer for you right now. You can get 30 days of Dog Post for $1. And I would take advantage of it. You're going to get thoughts, insights, final feelings, Matt's thoughts from the box, Legge's thoughts for the following games. What we're hearing is coming on Monday now, not Sunday, Monday. So all of that value, $30. You try it for $1. It's a great deal. So take advantage of that. You see the link down below on the screen. Going into the half, I'm not sure what that. So I get so busy after games that it's hard sometimes unless it's super important or pressing for me to ask questions. I'm following through a lot of things. I think to me, with Kirby on the pre-halftime, why not just kick it? Because they were a half a foot away from scoring a touchdown. Me, I think there's a very good argument for kicking it there, but you score a touchdown, the game is literally over. I think at the half, you're 21-3, and there's just really not much to talk about. Excuse me, you score touchdowns 21-3. Kick a field goal is 17-3. It's gonna be hard for Austin P. And then the rain, and then the thunder. So 2015 Alabama, 2022 Tennessee, 2015 Southern. There's been some rain games. I published that on Dawg Post earlier today. There's been some rain games at Georgia. This is about as hard as I've seen it rain in Athens before. The delay probably helped Georgia. Kirby talked about that quite a bit in the press box about how they realized with about 7 minutes to go in halftime, that they didn't, they were not going to be going back out there, and that extended for almost an hour and a little bit. Someone else can say, but that was I think people expect Georgia to come out in here and hammer people, and I told y'all after the game last week that I thought Georgia really played well. They could back it up this week. They didn't back it up on offense. To me, they didn't have explosive plays. Like Georgia shouldn't have to really. This is, by the way, this is probably the longest or second longest game in Georgia history. I will get back to you on that. 4 hours and 44 minutes. But Gunner goes 26 of 34 for 227. His ball was 19 yards. Probably a ball. Young. No, is Young. It was to Taylor. So the guys, it's there. Like Colby Young, I think, started kind of, you could see it there. He 7 targets, 7 catches, 76 yards. It's 51 yards after the catch. One thing Kirby was talking about was, they weren't even close to the receivers, and you don't see that in SEC play. And he's, hoping that when they see it, that Georgia will take advantage of it. We'll see. I don't think it means that they won't. Dylan Bell's had a rough start to the season for sure, but I don't think that means he's got real problems. I just think he's had a rough start to the season. But anyway, Cash was their second leading receiver, 32 yards. Lennon Humphreys, who had a pretty good day outside of the fumble. I mean, you had 2 turnovers. I think Austin P only had one. You can't have multiple turnover games on offense. So, in terms of running it, yeah, that's not a problem right now. I think Dwight Phillips is. I hesitate to say he's their best running back because I think there's things that Chauncey Bowens can do specifically that Dwight can't do. I think there are things that Nate Frazier does. Maybe he's more reliable. Both those guys, Nate and Chauncey, with 2 touchdowns. I mean, Chauncey's touchdown was a big deal. But Kirby said tonight, you hold your breath when you see Dwight Phillips get in the game, not for negative reasons, because the guy flashes, man. A 23-yard run, I think, was the biggest offensive play of the day for Georgia. I mean, this is a day where you should have 40-yard touchdowns and 60-yard plays and all that. Austin P did play fine. Yeah, it was fine, whatever. But, they were massively outmatched. Georgia pushed them around all the time, 140, 190 yards. So that was good. But Chris Parson had a pretty good day throwing it, 16 to 23 with an interception, which was not on him, it was a tip ball, sacked twice for 151 yards. Austin P was really having a hard time in the first quarter. Now, things settled down. Second quarter, Kirby was losing his mind out there. So you've seen some of the images on Dawg posts. This was just not a good game. Georgia just didn't play well. Peyton Woodring, it wasn't unbelievable. Excuse me, Brett Thorson. That's not the way that guy always plays. So there's some stuff to get right, and all of a sudden you got to go to Neyland. The good news is they allowed 45 yards rushing. So, another game of not even having 200 yards for the opposition. The bad news is the explosion's not there right now. It was not there today. It was there last week. And then, you get in the red zone and you don't score on scored 4 out of 5 chances in the red zone. Speaking of red zone, make sure that you're, head over to see Scott and Mindy. The weather, this is a game that people will remember only because of the weather. That's it. It will not be a game that, there could be, if they lose next week in Tennessee, there could be signs that, this is something we saw. Yeah, maybe because, they struggled today. Florida lost. Clemson really struggled, but won, which I expected. I did not necessarily expect the Gators to lose, but they, Georgia dropping down slightly in the national championship odds. They got to play better than they did this week offensively. I don't know what the Tennessee line. I'm kind of looking at it. I know what it was, and I expect it to tick toward the Vols a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, it ticked towards Tennessee a little bit more just now, so about a point. Georgia will enter that thing and we'll see how this sort of settles out. About a 5-point, maybe 6-point favorite to win at Tennessee, which means you should win. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, that was a 7.5 a week ago. So Tennessee, definitely can score and all that, but well, it depends on where you're looking. I don't really trust ESPN's lines. I got to say that out loud so I think it's at 5.5 some places. So whatever, but this wasn't great. And it wasn't great. Now defensively, it was pretty good. That goal line stand, which I think led to a 99-yard touchdown drive, which was very plodding, 17 yards. I'm just saying, you can score from 99 yards on a drive in 7 plays. So that's all. And listen, the coaching staff here knows vastly more than people like I do about football and the way you play. If this, then this. Okay, that's a lot of sports. But there weren't broken tackles that led to massive plays. There weren't, Lon Humphreys had a pretty good day, but except the fumble. So stuff like that, like when you take away drives and you don't score, like you had 2 turnovers and a ball that you didn't score at the at the inch yard line, that is how you wind up with only 28 points on a 1AA school. Like you should have, um, they probably should have scored 38 points tonight. They did not. And I think that that's the part to me that you got to, you know, what should the score have been? Sort of been like soccer, stuff like the way people talk about soccer sometimes. It probably should have been 38 to like 6 or maybe 38 to 13, to be honest, to some degree, um, or at least 38 to 9. But they should have scored there right at the end. And then I would imagine they would have scored another touchdown probably if they kept the ball and not turned it over a couple of times. It's not great. Like it was not great today. It was not great today. And we'll just see. I mean, 28 to 6. You've allowed one touchdown in 4 quarters. Tennessee, I think, scored 4 touchdowns in a quarter. They scored a bunch of touchdowns today. But you don't know. This coming week will tell you a lot. I mean, they completely could go up there and lose. I don't think that that's out of the realm of possibility at all. But they went fumble, touchdown, touchdown, 3-and-out, punt, and then it was the half where they knocked on the door. I mean, if you have had a fumble and you score 17 points on 6 possessions, I mean, a really 17 points on 5 possessions, that's not that bad. That's not, you're not going to score every single time you get it. And then what happened was when they got out of the half and just Chauncey Bowens went ham on people. Then they fumbled when it felt like they were kind of getting it going at the 31. So then they racked up yards. You got to score touchdowns. I mean, like they had drives of 80, 56, 53, 60, and 99. That's a lot of drives. Like that's a lot of production in terms of yardage. That's significant. They just left some points on the board, and that's not off the board, I should say, on the table. 27 to 36. It wasn't great. It was fine. 421 yards. It didn't feel like it. It didn't feel like it. So only 3 penalties. I mean, like there's a lot of good stuff here, but the explosion. I mean, I straight up asked Gunner, and it's got to be better in terms of the explosion. That's all. And if Kirby and them are right about, hey, it's because of the way that they're playing us, I don't know enough about football to say. I couldn't say. I just know that there weren't explosives. And there may be a strategic reason why. And I thought Austin P could have been a little bit more aggressive and kind of gone for some stuff a little bit more. Didn't happen. And that's, like they had the ball, they had the punt, they could have gone for it on fourth down, but they punted like in midfield in the third quarter. I didn't understand that. But that's me. The defense, Georgia's got a good defense. I mean, they're really good. CJ Allen was, another really good day for him, and Raylan Wilson. They are really good players, and I just, here's what Austin P did. 3-and-out. They took it. They got to drive. People are going to drive the ball sometimes. So 3-and-out, 6 yards in the first quarter, 6 yards, and then they drove the ball, kicked a field goal, then an interception, then punt, field goal, lost it on downs at the 1, I guess, and then punt. I mean, like they shut them down completely. They had a great drive, the 63-yard drive, and that was it. Like, so if they can do that to Tennessee, they'll beat them like 24-7 or 28-10 or something like that. Because Tennessee's going to score some. I mean, but if they don't do that, you lose. I mean, like you don't. There's a lot to still be, working on and dealing with. I mean, Georgia held Austin Peay 3 of 13 on third down conversions. Georgia was 7 of 13. It was. I'll go back and watch and see if it's worse than I thought. I think it was not great. Kirby was very frustrated in the second quarter. Very frustrated, aggravated at Gunner. I mean, it was tough. So I don't know. This was not great. Florida was not great. Clemson was not great. There were a lot of not greats in this area of the world. Alabama, I think, is already up. Oklahoma's getting it going against Michigan. Georgia's going to have to go on the road. It's going to be challenging. Like they have had, I believe they have 4 total penalties this entire season. They're going to need to play like that part. They're going to need to be judicious on offense and not. And they'll need to be more explosive on offense and just the same way on defense. Now they're dealing with a different caliber of player. But I'll tell you that this coming week for sure. But I'll tell you this: they have got Kirby Smart's got their undivided attention as we head to Neyland, and he'll need it because Tennessee can score. Can score. We'll see you on Rocky Top. Thanks for watching. Take advantage of that $1 deal. Thanks for watching.